All right, next up, we got. I'm sorry, there's no commercial for it.
Oh no, no catchy jingle or anything.
Okay, well, I don't think people remember this as something that was advertised very heavily on television.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, maybe for like McDonald's or something.
Mm-hmm.
But next on the list is Beanie Babies.
Oh,
And this is something that
no.
I have always had a problem with.
Yeah, when you actually told me that you really hated Beanie Babies, I was like, wow,
Okay, and not for the reasons that most people might think.
Right.
Most people might think, oh, they're stupid because they're just beanbag plush toys.
Yeah, for people out there that don't know maybe what Beanie Babies are.
Okay, they're basically what I said. They're little like maybe handheld plush beanbag animals.
Mm-hmm.
And their history goes way back into like the early 90s when they started producing them, and people for some reason they decided that these things will be worth a lot of money later on.
Yeah,
because
it was kind of weird.
The manufacturers, they were smart in releasing, once they got more popular, as just toys, they started releasing these collectible editions and limited ones that you could only get through, I don't know, a certain store, or they only released maybe like 10 of these, and you had to, go where I don't even know where people found them because there was no eBay back then.
Right. Yeah. It's like they were super collectible.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with it, when you make anything like that's super collectible and super limited, and people will go crazy for that sort of thing.
Yeah. And in all honesty, that's fine, because it's not like things haven't been collectible previous to this. Like baseball cards, they're super collectible. Anything that's, it seems like things that people like to have as a collection are kind of reasonable. Like stamps.
So why do you look at Beanie Babies and think that they're not kind of worthy as being collectible? Or if you think that way?
I think that way because the collectability of Beanie Babies was manufactured.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't built upon something that was like prized.
Right.
Like baseball cards, these are historical figures that you have their like rookie card from, and it's something that like holds a lot of weight in a historical sense. Same with stamps.
Yeah.
Beanie Babies, however, they were just like that because of how little they made of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this economical landscape within the Beanie Baby like community that was just causing all sorts of problems.
Right. It creates these hyperinflated prices too, and like it ups the value of something that really, honestly should not have that kind of a value to it.
It's like when you start treating something like that that's so manufactured as a currency, you run into a lot of problems. Like honestly, they're only on this list because of the precedent that they created with their just inflation tactics.
Mm-hmm. You do see it a lot nowadays too, actually. I mean, specifically for coming from me as somebody who plays Magic the Gathering.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. Is like specifically, for example, like printing like rare cards, and printing them in such a way where it's like there are very few of them out there.
Yeah. But Magic gets a pass because it has a purpose. It's a game.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a whole point behind the collectability is that you can use that in the game itself.
Exactly.
And that's why it's like so prized, because it's powerful or anything.
A lot of those cards are like used in tournaments and stuff.
The most collectible Beanie Baby, I think, is like the Princess Diana one. Do you remember that?
Not really. I never really followed Beanie Babies.
It was
all
one
that
that was created like maybe a year or two before she died, and then when she did, it like skyrocketed up to like tens of thousands of dollars.
Like, unfortunately, what happens when anybody passes away? Like all of their stuff gets more like higher valued.
But it's ridiculous because it didn't serve any other purpose other than being this toy that you just look at.
And it's like, you think about it too, it's just because it's a Beanie Babies brand too is what makes it valuable. Anybody can make a stuffed toy of Princess Diana.
It's not like it was rare because all these other ones got destroyed in this fire, and these were like the ones that were saved. And that's why
it was rare.
They were made out of like some metal that isn't being made. No, it's these people. Was it Ty?
I think so.
That was the company that made them. They're jerks.
They decided we are only going to make 100 of these, and then we're going to set this at this price, and then the people there can kind of like compete for it, kind of like the way they do in what's that Arnold Schwarzenegger Sinbad movie?
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way.
I like how you called it Arnold Schwarzenegger / Sinbad movie, as if he's a major player, which he is, but you don't think of that as a Sinbad movie.
Yeah, that's true. But
you think of First Kid as a Sinbad movie.
Oh, why'd you have to mention that? We're not talking about bad movies here.
Okay. But for Beanie Babies, let me say this. There is a picture of a Beanie Baby divorce.
What?
And it's not what you think it is. Basically, this might be one of the saddest photos in all of the internet.
Wait, so are there Beanie Babies getting divorced?
No. Okay, so what it is, the story behind the picture is that there is this couple who is getting a divorce, and they have to split their Beanie Baby collection.
What?
And so they must have had like tens of thousands of dollars invested in these Beanie Babies.
Oh my God.
Because everyone thought that it would skyrocket in price later on and they could sell them for a profit.
Oh my God.
But basically what the picture is depicting is them in a courtroom on their hands and knees in front of this gigantic pile of Beanie Babies, and they're each
are they like picking the ones that they want?
They're picking the ones out under the jurisdiction of the judge.
Wow.
Making sure that it's split evenly.
That's fucking terrible.
And the most hilarious thing about it is that it is so serious.
Yeah.
One of their lawyers is sitting behind them looking at a piece of paper, like it seems like he's making sure everything is everything's going according to plan.
Right,
making
like
sure,
the value is
yeah,
equal.
making sure everything is, even and properly distributed.
Oh, good Lord.
And then in the background, there's about 5 or 6 people who I assume are their family members. And they're like, they have their hands over their mouths, like looking so intensely. They're like, oh my gosh, which one are they going to pick? Oh, man. Like everyone's playing this so seriously. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, here, I have it on the file or on the folder right here. Take a look at it.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Are you serious? They're all just like strewn across the floor. And like they're little piles of them.
Look at everyone in the background. They are so serious.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God. Oh my God. Wow, that's pretty sad actually. That's a lot of Beanie Babies too. That's a huge pile.
Yeah, that's a good maybe like 200 or so, I want to say.
I was going to say $200, but it's like, wow.
No, 200 animals.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, everyone in the background is just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They're just waiting so patiently.
I can't wrap my head around that. Like, just because they're little freaking stuffed animals.
Exactly. Like I said.
They're not even really like toys.
No, these are not toys.
Yeah.
This is why they're on this list.
Right.
Because these are terrible toys. If I will say this one thing. Mm-hmm. If they didn't have any of this drama, if none of this, inflated prices and market for Beanie Babies ever existed, if they existed solely as beanbag toys, as for little kids, they'll be fine. They wouldn't be here. They might get like an honorable mention on this list.
Yeah.
Even if they were like super popular, but there were no inflated prices up to thousands of dollars.
I don't even think we would even remember them, honestly.
Yeah, I think we wouldn't.
When we were coming up with this entire list, we probably would have just totally glossed over it. I'm sure there are lots of toys like that we are not even thinking about right now.
Yeah. But because of that, they are the lowest on my list. Okay, I'm gonna give my rating right now. They get a 10.
Oh, wow.
They get a 15 if that's possible. And that's they get the
not
least,
even saving the worst for last.
No, they get the least amount of respect out of anything on here.
Yeah.
Out of all the toys in the 90s, they are the bottom of the barrel.
Joey's worst toy of the 90s.
Of the decade.
Beanie Babies.
Of the century even.
You heard it here on RetroActive.
It's all because of that drama and turmoil and like that was artificial.
Right. Safe to say, Joey never collected any of these at all, ever.
I had one.
You had one?
Yeah, and I shoved them into a yo-yo case that was maybe about 3 by 3 inches.
I'm sure
I was annoyed, but I'm just like...
I'm sure like the Beanie Baby collectors out there that might be listening to this podcast are just like...
It was brown. I don't even remember what animal it was. I don't think I ever took it out of the case. And if I did, it was just a square.
Did they come in cases?
No, it was a yo-yo case.
Oh, you didn't take it out of the yo-yo case?
No.
You shoved it in there and forgot about him. I think I had like a turtle. and that was it. Like I might have got it at the zoo, so it's
just
probably a common, if y'all must know.
common, a white.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, I think for those specific reasons too, I'd probably rate them pretty high, like 7 or 8, just because like honestly, I never really saw what the big deal was, and I mean, it's like as a collector's item, I don't care about those things. I'm not big on stuffed animals or plushies or anything like that. I don't have a lot of them, even from when I was a kid. I mean, I might have had a couple that I was like fond of. Like I think I had a Sesame Street doll, like an Ernie doll, that I carried around with me as a kid, but that was kind of it.
Yeah, but when you have those as kids, when you have stuffed animals, every kid had stuffed animals,
Right.
And you kept them because of their, your emotional attachment to
Yeah,
them.
it was
because
kind of a symbol.
it was a symbol for your childhood, and it kept you safe. With Beanie Babies, you had them, but there was this detachment because of their value.
Exactly, and especially if your parents were big on collecting them too.
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
just kind of derailed the whole thing about them being toys.
Like, why can't I play with them? It's like, no, you can't play with these. These are worth money. I think it was the same way that my parents did that with Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars.
Yeah, like action figures.
I had a ton
of
of those, like those little cars. My parents would not want me playing with them and messing them up because they were like, oh, those are going to be worth money someday.
Yeah.
I still have them somewhere in my closet. They might be worth something, but I played with them. I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to play with these things. I just want to race around a bunch of damn toy cars. So yeah, 7 or 8 for me. 10 for Joey. Worst toy of the decade.
10 plus.
10. He breaks the scale. He's going to 11 on this one.